Welcome to the birthplace of Canada's national parks, the Cave and Basin National Historic Site, here in beautiful Banff, Alberta. This is where Canada's national park story began. Long before millions of visitors came to admire Banff's mountains, lakes, and glaciers, this small cave filled with warm mineral water sparked a vision that would eventually protect some of the country's most spectacular wilderness. Located in the heart of Banff, it's nestled against Sulphur Mountain, surrounded by forests, marshes, and the winding Bow River.
We've just arrived at the parking lot, and it's surprisingly spacious. Since this site isn't as crowded as places like Lake Louise or Moraine Lake, finding parking is usually much easier. From the parking lot, a pleasant pathway leads us toward the Welcome Center. The shelves are filled with books about Banff's history, Indigenous culture, geology, wildlife, and Canada's national parks. We continue toward the historic Cave and Basin site. The short pathway winds gently through mature trees, with interpretive signs along the route introducing the fascinating story of this site. They explain how, in 1883, 3 Canadian Pacific Railway workers discovered the cave after noticing steam rising from the mountainside. At the time, Canada was still a young country, and the discovery of these natural hot springs quickly attracted national attention. Instead of allowing private ownership, the federal government chose to protect the area for everyone. That decision eventually led to the creation of Banff National Park in 1885, the first national park in Canada and one of the earliest in the entire world.
As we step inside the visitor center, we are surrounded by large displays, historic photographs, videos, and interactive exhibits that tell the incredible story of how a single hot spring led to the creation of Canada's first national park, and eventually inspired a nationwide system of protected forests, mountains, lakes, rivers, and wildlife habitats. We come across fascinating artifacts from the site's early days, including old bathing equipment, railway memorabilia, engineering tools, historical maps, and other objects from the original bathhouse. Together, these exhibits give us a glimpse into what life was like here more than a century ago, and help us understand just how significant this small cave and its warm mineral waters became in shaping Canada's conservation history.
As we walk inside the cave, the temperature changes almost immediately. The air becomes warmer and noticeably more humid. The dim lighting adds to the atmosphere, while the smell of naturally occurring sulfur fills the cave. Ahead of us lie the famous opening where warm mineral water has continuously flowed for thousands of years. This is the very natural spring that inspired Canada's first national park. The water emerges naturally from deep underground, heated by geothermal processes before rising through layers of limestone rock. The temperature stays relatively constant throughout the year, creating an unusual ecosystem that supports rare microorganisms, algae, and the endangered Banff Spring snail. In the late 1800s, these mineral waters became famous for their supposed healing and therapeutic properties. Visitors came from great distances, hoping the warm springs would improve their health.
As we step back outside, the fresh mountain air feels wonderfully crisp after the warmth of the cave. One display that captures our attention features one of Canada's rarest animals, the Banff Springs snail. This tiny snail measures only a few millimeters in length and exists nowhere else on Earth, except within a handful of warm mineral springs here in Banff. The snail depends entirely on the constant warm water flowing from these springs. Even small changes in water temperature, water chemistry, or flow can threaten its survival. Because of its extremely limited habitat, Parks Canada carefully protects these springs, monitors the snail population, and limits public access to sensitive areas. It's amazing that such a tiny creature has become one of the symbols of conservation here, reminding us that protecting nature isn't only about large animals like bears or elk. Sometimes it's about safeguarding the smallest forms of life.
We continue walking toward the open courtyard. This area provides a relaxing place to allow visitors to enjoy views of the surrounding forest while natural light fills the space. It's an ideal transition between the indoor exhibits and the outdoor boardwalks that continue through the marshlands. The Gallatley Gallery is an exhibition space named in honor of the Gallatley family, whose generous support helped preserve and enhance visitor experiences at the Cave and Basin National Historic Site. The gallery hosts changing exhibitions that explore Banff's cultural history, Indigenous perspectives, conservation, wildlife, geology, photography, and the continuing story of Canada's national parks.
As we leave the Gallatley Gallery and continue along the pathway, we come upon a small pond with an unusual greenish color. The green tint comes from dense communities of algae, cyanobacteria, and other microscopic organisms that thrive in the warm, mineral-rich water flowing from the hot springs. Unlike most mountain ponds in Banff, which are fed by cold snowmelt, this water emerges from deep underground at a relatively constant temperature throughout the year. The warmth, combined with dissolved minerals such as sulfates and carbonates, creates conditions that support life found in very few places in Canada. Some of these organisms form thin green and brown mats along the rocks and shallow edges, quietly carrying out photosynthesis and producing oxygen. Others help recycle nutrients and provide the foundation of a delicate food web that supports insects, small aquatic invertebrates, and other wetland life throughout the surrounding marsh.
Something that's really quite small. It's like the size of my little pinky nail, okay? Little grey blobs. So can you see on here, this leaf? Can you see these ones? That's the snails. Yeah, and then if you come around, you see the tentacles, and then that's the foot of them. But it's surface tension, that's how they are able to swim around because of the size of them. Yeah, it's so cute when they're swimming.
This pond is also closely connected to the story of the endangered Banff Springs snail. The warm spring system that feeds the pond is part of the same network of thermal waters on which the snail depends. Because these waters are so specialized, even small changes in temperature, water flow, or water chemistry can have serious consequences for the species and the entire ecosystem. That is why Parks Canada carefully monitors these springs and restricts access to sensitive areas around them.
It's on the present-day territories of Treaties 6, 7 and 8 First Nations. We have a natural history tour. It's going to be an hour. We're going to spend about 10 minutes here at the basin. And then we're going to head down to the lower boardwalk and learn about the plants and the animals, the water and everything that lives here. So if you'd like, one of the major forces that have shaped the environment here. So I don't know if you all want to just take a look at the basin and see if you can see some things. What do you notice about the basin? Maybe some of the smells, maybe some of the sights that you see, or the bubbles are bringing up the gases. We can smell that smell as well, it's stinky. Behind the rock, we're going to learn a little bit more about that as well. The rock behind there is something called tufa, which we'll learn as deep as 3.2 kilometers, or a mile and a half. So can you imagine walking that far, but down? So here at the cave and basin, a little bit higher up, and these 7 springs here are actually where the snail is found. These 3 here, it's not, so they're taking the oxygen out of the water, they're using that, and they're feeding on sulfates as well that are dissolved in the water from the rocks like these.
We continue onward, stepping into the Discovery Trail and Marsh Boardwalk, where the story of these warm waters expands into the larger wetland ecosystem that surrounds the cave and basin.
Because this area is a unique climate, because it's warmer, because those and it's called a garter snake. So I just saw a snake there when I first, and then when I and also I think because of the size of them, they are feeding on a little garter snake here.
I didn't think it'd be worth it.
Wooden boardwalks float gently above wetlands filled with cattails, grasses, shallow pools, and small streams created by the warm spring water. Interpretive signs explain how these marshes support an incredible diversity of life. Birds, amphibians, insects, fish, and countless native plants depend on this unique wetland habitat.
So here, as we can see, this is some of the several waters that are leading from the cave over there.
Depending on the season, it's common to spot ducks, red-winged blackbirds, muskrats, dragonflies, beavers, and occasionally even elk wandering nearby.
But we'll just take a stop here. So this is what this area might look like in the winter. So we've got snow all around, but when it gets down here, because it's mixing with some rainwater, it's cooling down, but it's still warm enough for... So this is a good area. Robins? Yes. American robins? Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Whereabouts do you live? Oh, okay. Disturbing his peace. And as we walk along here, you see all these little seeds? Yes, and I have seen them down here as well. Yeah, that's the first time.
One of the most fascinating aspects of these marshes is that the warm spring water prevents some areas from freezing completely during winter, allowing certain plants and animals to survive when much of the surrounding landscape is frozen.
Species that survived here called the Banff long-nosed dace. So it is on this sign as well, but this is the Banff long-nosed dace. This is a native species. And another fish called the sailfin molly, which is the black one on here. The story goes that there was a
As we stroll quietly along the boardwalk, listening to birdsong and the gentle movement of water, we are reminded that the story of Cave and Basin is about protecting nature, respecting the delicate balance of life, and recognizing that one remarkable discovery over 140 years ago continues to inspire conservation across Canada today.
Thank you for joining us on this walk through the birthplace of Canada's national parks. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the Cave and Basin Historic Site with us, and perhaps this visit has inspired you to discover even more of the incredible natural heritage that Canada has preserved for future generations.